Hi fam, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vuvu. If you are new on here, please consider pressing that red subscribe button down below and joining the family. If you're an oldie, a member of the fam, welcome back fam, and thank you for joining me once again. So as you can tell, this is my February actually, and if you're curious about the number of books I read, which is 14 to be exact, please do stay tuned.
So Vena _reads is an amazing book reviewer, also YouTuber. She reviews books on YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she also has a blog as well. So please, if for your connection with literature, get in touch with or follow at VUVUVENA_reads. She is based in South Africa, and I think it is also extremely important to follow literary content creators who are based outside of the West and in continental Africa, because they do a really good job of bridging the gap.
We appreciate you, Vuvu, for bringing us Turning Pages and for bringing us your BookTube channel.
You know, this is a chance for people to actually see some people that I really enjoy.
Please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below, and if you are returning, welcome back fam.
Vuvu, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, so I read 14 books in the month of Feb, and 4 of those were physical books, while the rest were digital in one or other form. Right, so we'll kick off with the digital copies. I'll just put up here the books that I read with my kids. So I read 1, 2, 3 books with the kids. So I read 3 books with the kids in the month of February, which gives me 11 books that were adult books that I read for myself in that month. And of those, the ones that I read off a digital platform were Threads That Bind by Kika Hatzupal. The surname gets me every time. Hatzopulu. And I read Behold the Dreamers. Digitally, I read Immortal Dark. Behold the Dreamers is by Imbolombue. Immortal Dark by Tigis Germa. And I read... the book that I read digitally was Stay With Me, not Behold the Dreamers, Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. And then I read Crash via audiobook, that's by Frida McFadden. And then I read The Cock Down the Block by Amy Ward. Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbon, and Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros. Okay, those were the digital books. So let's start with Onyx Storm. It's been a while, so I do not know if I'm gonna give it any justice in terms of a review. So in case you are new on here, I am no longer rating my books. I'm just telling you if it's I loved it, I liked it, maybe try it, I wasn't that crazy about it, something along those vocab lines, right? Just to give an indication about how I felt about the book. So also please bear in mind that I do my wrap-ups at the end of the month, and for example with Onyx Storm, I finished it on the first day of February. So by the time I do the wrap-up, having read 10 other books since, it's a really big axe, okay, to remember every single detail. So what I will try doing going forward is just to tell you what I enjoyed, what I do remember, and just keep it moving. This one probably you've already heard all kinds of reviews on from everybody and their sister and their auntie and their mama and their grandma, right? So I don't really need to delve that deep into it. It's everywhere right now. We are back in Basquiat, and Zayden and Violet, as well as their dragons, Tyrion, Adriana and Segale, are there with us, right? At this point in the story, we're trying to figure out ways to fight the Vernon because something happened to Xaden in the last book, and we are trying to figure out a cure for him, while also trying to find out who Andana is, or from which tribe or people is she from. People, dragons, is she from? And that sends us on a mission. I'm not in Baskai, but us on a mission to discover allies, or to try and find allies to fight off the evil that's coming on the land, while also trying to figure out who actually knows anything about Andana. And as we go down this journey, we start feeling a lot for Xaden and Andana. I don't want to lie, the bonds between Sigale and Terran are being stripped apart. A lot is going on behind the walls of Baskai. We learn a few things about Vernon. We're trying to figure out a few things about Violet and her magic, and we are discovering new lands where sometimes magic is not so strong, right? There's a lot of spoilers online, especially on Instagram, and a lot of people trying to speculate as to what anything means, as conspiracy theories, etc, etc, and I'll be the first to let you know that I believe every single one of them. Yep. Yeah, I saw one that said at the end of this book Violet is pregnant. I'm like, yes, me, I believe that. I believe it. I listen, and then one was talking about how Violet might be from might be able to channel 2 types of magic, from the sun, from the sky, and from the earth. The magic from the earth is what is corrupt, but the one from the sky is the one that she gets from the dragons, and she's been able to do things even though Andana is no longer with her. Hey Nina, I believe all of it, okay? I believe all of it. I absolutely loved book 3. It gave me a bigger appreciation for book 2. And listen, what Rebecca Yaros is doing here is really something that I truly appreciate. I'm hoping that she brings it sooner than later with book 4, and I'm hoping that it's a book that will trump even book 3, but nothing will ever trump book 1 for me. That's for sure. That is my firm favorite. I enjoyed this one. It was a good book. I really liked it. It was very close to loving it, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. Very adventurous, very fast-paced, very enjoyable. A lot of drama happening, some action, which is what I look for in a fantasy. Some action was delivered, and she did it so very well. So I really liked Onyx Storm. The next digital book was Meet Cute Club by Jack Harborn. I don't know why my tongue doesn't want to say it. By Jack. This one is a cute little slow burn, little romance. It is definitely a queer romance. Sorry. So our 2 main characters are gay, and they discover each other through a bookshop, or the meet cute is in a bookshop, and then the one trying to get to know the other more joins his book club, and his book club is a bunch of people from the town reading only romance, smutty romance. And I absolutely loved the feeling of this book. I don't know if that makes sense. I loved the feeling of this book. It's very cozy, it's very cute, it makes you want to smile. It's very, yes, it's witty, but it's also very, it's fun. I really did enjoy this one, but not so much the story. I don't know if this is making sense to anyone. It's making sense to me. Not so much the story, and not so much even the narration. So I didn't read this one, it was audio. So there were moments where I was on some, okay, it's a bit flat, but like I'm saying, it's cozy, it's cute, it's giving on those departments, but I felt like I still needed a little bit more. I would say this is a book that, yes, I would say if you're looking for a palette cleanser, something light, something really like, okay, because that's how I felt about this book. I felt okay about it. I would recommend it, but it's not something that I would rant and rave about. It's enjoyable though. I think I would read more from Jack Harburn. I liked it. I did like it, but not so much, if you hear what I'm saying. I then picked up The Cock Down the Block by Amy Ward. It is part of a series. It's book 1 in the Cocky Kingsman series, right? And this one was a recommendation a while back that I decided, okay, I've got time, let me pick it up. I was looking for audio, I didn't know what to listen to, and I remembered that I had this one saved, so I thought I would listen to it. I really like this one. It's quite funny. It's got a weird type of humor in it, and it has plus size body representation, which I absolutely loved. And I even loved the voice that she gave our main character, who is a plus size woman falling in love with a sportsman. So it is a romance, and how society views that as a whole, and how body shaming comes about as a result of who chooses to love you and who you choose to love. It's absolutely nice. It did cover a lot of topics around not necessarily body dysmorphia, but just image as a whole, and how people become so prejudiced against big-bodied people, and why they view them this way, and how to be confident as somebody who has that kind of body. It also delves a lot into sexual confidence, which is something that I don't think that is covered enough. And it's this here is done in a very, very funny, humorous way. I enjoyed this one. I don't want to lie, I did enjoy it. Like, it's not a you must read it, but it's definitely something fun. I definitely will be dipping my toes into more of the stories. I'm supposing that we will be told the love stories of the rest of the brothers in the series, so I will definitely, maybe by the time the year is done, I'll probably have read 2 more from them. Then I listened to Crash by Frida McFadden, and it was an interesting one. Okay, so think of a undesirable pregnancy, unfortunate accident that lands you in a stranger's house, and then you are kept there against your will, to be precise, but you are being fed all kinds of lies to keep you there because the person involved is really, really wanting your unborn baby. And the things that can transpire, because you are now immobile, you can't move as a result of this crash, and it doesn't matter what you try to do, you can't seem to escape this place. And then when you do escape it, so many revelations. All the things you find out about people that you thought you trusted, people that you would have never trusted, and people that have held your hand throughout. It is a very nice story, and the suspense is suspensing, and at some point you want to scream at the main characters in the story, the people holding the main character hostage, the actual main character herself, the brother to the main character, the father to the unborn child, like kuningi, but it all flows together, right? And I think that as this is my second Frida book. The first one was The Boyfriend. This one I enjoyed a little bit more than The Boyfriend, so this one I would definitely recommend. Okay, I picked up Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. Wow. And this was our fully booked book club pick for the months of January, February, and we did recently have a little chit chat on it. This one is a very important book that I think I want to own a physical copy for. In here we cover a lot of stories or situations pertaining to womanhood and what you go through once you've come past the stage of being a young girl and now you are a woman, especially a married woman who has society expecting a lot from them and their community expecting a lot from them. In this one we follow a married woman who, I always forget her name, even during our discussion I kept saying, can somebody tell me what her name is? Yejide. We follow Yejide. Yejide is a married woman, happily married woman, who happens to have no child. She cannot have children, or at that point this is what we understand. And when we meet her, her in-laws have come to visit her house where she lives with her husband. I cannot get his name. Kwame, I think. Kwame lives with her husband, Kwame, and these in-laws have come to visit and had not really made an arrangement. Anyway, we meet them in the lounge and there's an extra woman with them, only to find this woman is the husband's second wife. The husband is not being introduced to this woman. The husband is already married to this woman. This woman is here because Ayejide can't have kids, and she's here to solve for that problem as the second wife. And this takes her, Ayejide, by surprise, and she can't believe her husband did this to her. And then the rest of the book, she's going into this almost like frantic situation, trying to bear a child for this man. She goes to prophets, she goes to do some rituals, she does all sort of things, and then she ends up with a phantom pregnancy that is then followed by a real pregnancy where the child only survives for a few months, I want to say, and then she is with child again. This child lives a little bit longer, goes to school, is the most sweetest thing, only to find out that this child has sickle cell disease and passes on. And then the last child comes. All of these children have there is a mystery. There's a mystery around how, not a mystery, well, there is a spoiler that I can't share with you around how these kids are conceived. And one day she finds out when her husband is in Lagos with the latest child, whose name happens to be, stay with me in that language, that the child is unconscious. On that day, Ayejide decides she's leaving husband, child, everything. She cannot do this grief anymore. Her life has just not been panning out the way that she would have wanted it to, and she's gonna go far away and start all over again. And then years later, Kwame's dad passes on, and we are told the story initially from the perspective of Ayejide on the day that she's going to the funeral, and then it transitions into what happened in the years that led her to leave where she was living, and now that she's coming back, and there are a lot of secrets and discoveries that happen when she returns. It is a brilliant book for women, a brilliant book for men. There are very important discourses that are being had in this book. If you have not yet picked it up, I'd suggest you do. And for me, I think that it is a book that will stay with you for a very long time, that will help you navigate your own life, as well as sensitive conversations around childbearing specifically. And it might also teach you a thing or two about friendship and how you show up as a woman in each other's lives. I loved this one a lot. Okay, so I think I have one more digital book that I want to share with you guys, and then we will hop on to 2 more digital books. Okay, Immortal Dark by Tigis Germa. It's book 1 of the Immortal Dark trilogy. This one I took a while to get into. It was sold to me by charity because we have vampires, black vampires, yeah. And I was like, you know what, say less, I also want to see vampires being represented as black, so I am definitely hopping onto that. But I think because I was not looking at my Kindle while listening to the audio, it took me a while to get into it, but eventually I did. And it is for me a story of lineage, the things we inherit, the perceptions that we have about people before we get to know them, the societies that we form and the intentions behind them, how to protect what is yours, how to keep what is yours and how to identify who's in your corner. It is a very lovely book. I really enjoyed reading this one. I really did like it. So if I have to rate between liked, loved, and absolutely loved, I would say I loved this one quite a lot. I'm looking forward to the second book in the series. The next book that I picked up in the digital format is Threads That Bind by Kiki Hatsopulu. I think I said it right. Hatsopulu, it's you. Yes. Okay, fine. This one I had gotten from Ned Gallery, and it is a, I want to say it's a new adult, not necessarily YA, new adult fantasy. What's wrong with me? Fantasy. Okay. And it is based, I want to say, in some Asian. Yes, it is part of a series. It's the Threads That Bind series. And I see that there is a book 2 called Hearts That Cut. Okay, so a little bit of a difficult one for me to explain. I do intend to review this one on my blog, vuvuvenareads.com. So you know what this one reminded me of? It really reminded me of Crescent City in a way, because there is a situation in which our main character, so Io is our main character. This is the perspective from which the story is told. She's a descendant of the Fates, and she's the youngest of the sisters. I forget the middle sister's name and the older sister's name, but she, when she was younger, discovered that she is the cutter of the three. So there's the weaver, there's the three sisters, one to weave, one to draw. The drawer is the middle sister, and then the older one is the weaver, and the younger one is the cutter. So she has been using those powers in the past to cut threads that bind people to things that they love too much, or people that have betrayed them but they still have a link to them, or whatever the case might be. Naturally, people in this world have a few threads really that bind them to stuff, but Io, because of her gifting, has a lot of threads. And one of the threads that she discovered quite early is her fate thread, which then, like the synopsis says, links her to her soulmate, Edie. I keep thinking I'm saying it wrong, but Edie. And when she discovered that that was her soulmate, she had a choice to make, either to cut the thread or to keep it running until he discovers it. But then she would not pursue him, because when she discovered the thread, she also discovered that he has a boyfriend. So the three sisters are orphaned at the moment, and it seems like the older sister ran away, never to return, didn't want to return, and it also seems like she was mistreating Io for quite a long while. So being without her is not really such a train smash, if they are being honest, or if Io is being honest. And on a certain day, Io finds herself in the offices of the mob queen, and she is tasked with discovering the reason why women are dying across their land. And it seems like they are ghosts / wraiths that are responsible for these deaths, and they have to investigate together with Edie, who is the mob queen's right hand, what on earth is causing these deaths, and if it's the wraiths who is actually behind it. As they're investigating, they then stumble across a file about the whereabouts of her older sister, and it would seem that her older sister is in a romantic relationship with the mayor-elect, I want to say, of the, well, somebody who's running for mayorship in that city, and this person happens to be their main suspect. Things start to happen. Her life starts to collide with her sister's life again. Romantic strings are getting stronger between her and Edie, and so on and so forth. I absolutely loved this book, and like I said, it did remind me of the start of Crescent City, and I think this is why I also liked that book, right? I love the fact that they could weave in the mystery or crime, what do you call them, like detective work, man, together with the romance, together with the fantasy. I absolutely enjoyed that quite a lot. I really loved this one. And then into our physical books, here we have Behold the Dreamers by Imbolo. In this one we follow Jende and Nene. Nene and Jende are married, or rather Jende, it took him a while to get approval from Nani's dad for him to marry the daughter. So when he moved to America, he saved a lot of money to be able to get Nani's hand in marriage. So we are now with them in America, and they are trying to make a living. Jende gets hired by a Wall Street tycoon. Oh, is it a tycoon? Big shot in Wall Street during the year 2008. We all know what happened there. Is the year that recession hit, and this big shot happens to work for the Neiman. Is it Neiman? Who are those people there by Wall Street? Lehman Brothers. And they treat them, they're very wealthy. Him and his family live in like the poshest places of the city, and Jende and Nene live in the opposite. So the story is just a back and forth of a foil between these two characters, in the sense that their lives are indirectly being compared throughout, and we are getting the sense of what it is that truly matters in life. Yes, you might have all the money in the world, but are you truly happy? Yes, you might not have all the money in the world, but you are actually blessed with all the happiness that you need. There's a lot of that juxtaposition between these two families to just, I think, get the reader to think about what truly matters in life. Is money alone all that matters? Does home matter? What makes home matter? Does returning back to your home matter? Does the dream that you are chasing erase who you are and what it is that you start looking for in life? What do you do when you are most desperate in a foreign country and you don't know what to hold on to anymore, and you really don't want to go back home? What does failure look like? Is going home truly something that should equate to failing? There's a lot of topics that are discovered here. Trigger warnings. There is a suicide in this one, so tread carefully when you enter this book. But it is also a story about pursuing your dreams even when they don't pan out as you thought they would. I loved what Imbolo did with this one. Absolutely loved it. Then I picked up 6 Scotch Roses by my girl Carissa Broadbent. What? Absolutely love the prose in this book. I will not say more about this one because I do have a review up on my blog, vuvuvenareads.com. But she is definitely who the girl that she thinks she is. Okay, wow, read that review. Absolutely stunning piece of work. Absolutely loved this novella. I couldn't put it down. It was beautifully written. The story was beautiful. The fantasy was given. Like everything in this one gave from start to finish, and that is something, okay? Because as we all know, at some point the books there's a depth that you have to get through, but in this one, well done. Well done, my girl. So I then hop straight into, I don't know what's going on with this lash chair. I hop straight into 6 Scorched Roses. Yeah, sorry. I hop straight into The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, which is a Crowds of Nyxia novel, a second duet in the Crowds of Nyxia novels, and this duet is part of the Shadowborn duet, and this is book 1 in the duet. And yes, this is by Carissa Broadbent, and in this one we follow, this one also has a review coming up. Oh Jesus, I don't know what's going on. in this one we follow Mish and Asa. There is a review coming up on my blog. Mish, for those of you who know the Nightborn duet, she's Rain's best friend. Okay, so she has been captured by the Shadow Court. Okay, I thought my kids were screaming. Buka Iana, what's going on? What's up? But don't scream so loud, baby, please. So she's been captured by the Shadow Court, and they want to assassinate her because they believe that she is a spy for the Night Court. And on the day that she's about to be assassinated, she discovers a few things about the Shadow Court that most people might not know, but she is stopped by the I want to say it's the bastard son. That's the best that I can do with that one, of the current king, who says that Mish was gonna be, yes, is going to be very useful for a task that he has been tasked by Nyaxia herself. So please do not put her to waste, because actually in her past life, Mish, while she was a human, she happens to have been turned by Asa's brother, whom she killed, and I suspect that's why she was in the Night Court, in the Shadow Court dungeons, trying to be killed herself. Okay, before she was turned by Malik. I want to say it was Malik. It doesn't matter, but before that one tried to turn her, because I don't like him. She was actually an acolyte for the sun god, and she was actually also his bride. And there are certain tasks that have to be overcome on the journey to the task that Nyaxia has given Asa. Okay, so part of it requires somebody who is pledged to the sun god. The task at hand is to raise Nyaxia's dead husband. So this one was quite interesting, quite adventurous. I loved the dips, the turns, the twists, the stories behind religion, devotion, and who you can actually trust from the gods. Absolutely well done. Absolutely love what Carissa is doing with this series. So this one will stay a forever recommendation for me. My camera is obviously flashing, child. It's always doing this for me. Anyway, to me when I'm almost done. The last book. Okay, so the last book I picked up is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This book took me through it. Okay, it really took me through it. In this one we follow I even forgot these people's name. Lowen and Jeremy and Verity. Now Jeremy is married to Verity, who happens to be in a state where she is immobile at the moment, following an accident, right? So Lowen meets Jeremy when she has just lost her mom, and she is on her way for a job interview, a potential job, because she is a writer, a fiction writer, and she is looking for an opportunity so that she can put food on the table. So she happens to meet Jeremy after a trauma has just happened on her way to the meeting with the publishers, right? And Jeremy helps her out of this kind of traumatic situation, only to find that Jeremy is part of the people that will be part of the meeting, right? She does not know what the meeting is about. It's been very secretive. And when she gets there, it turns out that Jeremy is married to Verity, a best-selling author of a multi-award winning crime series, I want to say, psychological crime series. And because Verity cannot write at the moment, they need somebody to co-write the rest of the books with her, because they don't know when she will recover. So Lowen is the one who's picked. Fine. Then Lowen doesn't know if she wants to do this because it requires her to stop being the introvert that she is. However, Jeremy gets the publishers to change some of the expectations for Lowen, and Lowen ends up and give her a higher amount for the job, and Lowen ends up taking the job. And for her to do this job, she has to visit Verity's house in order to gather the research that she's already done for the next few books and start writing the books. While she is there, she finds a manuscript of a memoir, autobiography that Verity has written, and the things she discovers in this here manuscript, child, and the things that are going on in this house, and the people in this house, the tragedies they've seen, the lies that have been like swept under the rag. Child, this thing wants to come off under the rug, and the way people are not who they say they are. So much happens here. I hate every single character in this book. I couldn't believe it, but there was not a single character that I liked. Not even the child. There's a child in this house. I don't like that child. I don't like Verity. I don't like Lowen. I don't like Jeremy. I do not like any of these people, but it was like watching a train wreck. Okay. The things Colleen Hoover took me through while reading Verity, I hear that it might be coming onto the screen, and listen to me, if they do not make me feel what I felt while reading this, then may as well keep the screen, okay? Because this is a book that I would recommend. I do not recommend Colleen Hoover. I've only read 2 of her books before. That's November 9th and It Ends With Us, and from those 2 I gathered that she is not my cup of tea. But this is my cup of tea. This was such an adrenaline pumping book. It was also so well done when it comes to suspense, and as well as when it comes to questioning your trust as the reader, right? Because I don't think there's an unreliable narrator in this one, but so much in this story is unreliable. Like, I don't even know who the true Verity is. I've gone with the Verity in the manuscript being the real Verity. The other one was trying to the one in the letter is trying to hide things that they have already done. That is just how I feel about the situation, okay? And as for Jeremy, you can never know a person. You think you know a person, you think the book is done also, and then she gives you an epilogue and you think, oh, okay, they lived happily ever after. Not Colleen Hoover. The things that Jeremy is doing in that epilogue, I'm like, Lord forbid, stop it. Such a bunch of unlikable people. I have never, okay? And in case you didn't know, I loved this book so much. I absolutely loved it. I don't know what that says about me, but that brings us to the end of the February wrap up. And if you have read any of these books, yeah, including and if you've made it this far, yeah, okay. If you've made it this far in the video, please leave me a emoji of a bridge for this cover. And until next time, I truly do love you guys for choosing me. Bye for now.